How's everyone doing this morning?
Better than you, I guess.
Yeah, things happen. It's all right. Well, all right. It's a wonderful Thursday. We got Ray Ellen here. I am excited. I hope all of you guys are excited. I'm all right. I've heard Ray talk about, Chat GPT and all of this in the past. He is wildly, wildly smart with it, uses it a lot with his business. And if you have a Chat GPT account and a second screen, I would highly recommend pulling it up so you can interactively do some of this along with us. Because last time I watched him present, man, I got so much with it. So Ray, thank you for being here, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Just to give those of you who don't know Ray a little bit of background, Ray is in Little Rock, Arkansas. He is the founder and team lead of Pixel Properties. He's been in the business since 2007. He is at Real Brokerage. He is also a contributor to multiple platforms across the business, including Broke Agent Media. And Ray, am I correct? Realtor.com?
No, I didn't contribute there. They just featured me.
Okay, good. And I have gotten so much out of learning from Ray on a weekly basis that I would just love to have you all welcome him here. He's a bright guy, he's a thoughtful guy, and he's always ready to help. So Ray, thanks for coming in. Chat GPT is something that is in our on our horizon for a lot of us, but many of us have not dug in very deep. So love to.
Are any of you guys using it consistently? Have any of you guys played around with it? I would just like to get the level of the room. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 5, put it in the chat. Where are you with 5 using it daily, 1 meaning you've never used it, basically. Just to kind of get a little bit of an understanding of where folks are at with it, because there's a lot to learn with it. So I don't know. I think that it can be used in a lot of different ways, and it's been fun. So we've got, kind of all over the board with it. That's good.
Some 3s. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Do
all of you have an account with Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be important. As you're on the call, you might want to just jump on there and start an account.
Yep.
And nowadays there's a lot of fakes. So you just want to be sure you're at the openai.com. You can go there and set up your Chat GPT account if you don't have one. How many of you have a pretty strong understanding of what AI is? If so, put a 5 for, yeah, you're really strong. You know exactly what it is. If you have no clue what AI is, then hit a 1 in there. Just want to see where 0, 0, 0. That adds up to 0. Okay, 5. So you kind of a broad overview of what AI is and what a difference is. So we have things like help facts, and there are these things on websites that people can go to ask questions. And whenever you go and ask those questions, it's pulling from a reservoir of existing knowledge to answer the question. And usually if you don't phrase the question exactly right, then you're not going to find exactly what you're looking for. And it usually just provides some links to that information. Okay, so imagine if a computer could read all of that information and then start making inferences from that information, and then it can understand the question you're asking. And instead of providing the resource, it just answers the question in the context you asked. That's the difference in a database of knowledge and artificial intelligence. So now we have gone further to have something called a native language artificial intelligence. So now you don't have to be as strict with your own language and how you ask the question, because the native language AI has been trained on how most of us talk. And so if you don't ask it perfectly, or if you have misspellings, or if you use too many words or give it too much information, it knows what information to pull out that's not important based on the context of your question. It can understand kind of saying the mood of your questions, but the tone of your question to provide an answer in that same tone, removing the pieces that don't matter in the context of the information that it has. So that's a very oversimplified version of how artificial intelligence is working. So we're still a couple of years away, maybe 1 or 2 from it taking over the world. So while we have time, it's good to learn how to use it so that it can be a tool in your industry. And I can just tell you this, there's an 87% failure rate right now in real estate, right? We've all known that number. 87% of agents fail in the first 2 years. I ran several tests in which I asked AI a question and I asked an agent a question. The agent's question and the AI's, or the agent's answer and the AI's answer was the same. And in many cases, the AI's answer was more thorough. So what do people need agents for? And some will say, well, AI can't drive people around and unlock doors. Yes, it can. Both of those things are fully capable of being completely automated. Well, AI can't negotiate contracts. You would be shocked at the contract negotiation skills of Chat GPT. So the differentiator for real estate agents is not to look at AI as a competitor. You have to look at AI as a partner in your business. How can AI come alongside of you to take off some of the things that you normally do to now provide you with opportunity to do the things where you can win? Because where an agent can win is sitting across the table from their client. AI has a hard time buying drinks. AI has a tough time holding an event, right? So that relationship and that connection is really the only difference that agents provide. Now you can get to another expert level of agent, but now we're not talking about the 87% of agents that fail. That expert level of agent is already in the 13% of agents that are going to make it, that are going to be some of the top agents over the years. So they have differentiators beyond AI, but what we're referring to is the 87% of people that don't make it. So that group is in big trouble if the internet is left to its own devices and replacing agents with a knowledge base that can interpret how they're asking the question and answer it in the context. So does that give you kind of an overview of where we are? Yes, no. Did that confuse some of you more?
I mean, it's a wildly in-depth answer, and I think it's very, very good. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's, you know, it is. It's one of these things that it's not going to take our jobs. You know, I mean, I think Matt Leonetti had a really good reel about that basically, and that, you know, within a week or two, AI was going to be like, screw this, you know?
Yeah, for real. The first time AI gets a call late at night from a client, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
So the question, I guess, remains, how can we use it as a partner in our business? And there's a bunch of different ways to think through it. And maybe a little bit later, I'll share my screen, but I kind of want to talk about the philosophy first, and then we can get into the practical application. So artificial intelligence, for instance, we'll just focus on Chat GPT for this convo. Okay, so Chat GPT is a native language AI. If you go to Chat GPT and use it like Google, it will work kind of like that. But if you use it like Google, you're going to get expanded answers of what Google is. Okay. I would encourage you, and this sounds crazy if you've not used it, but I would encourage you to use it like an advisor first. So ask it a question that you would ask a mentor, right? You can use it for your own business in how you relate with clients, or this is happening to one of my deals. What's the best, based on best practices? What do you think is the best solution? You can ask it something about like let's say you want to do a mailing campaign. Well, then ask it what what are the current best practices for real estate mailers? Now, some of the information.
Ray, I have a question about that. If you're not paying for Chat GTP, don't you only have access to Chat GTP 3, which only has knowledge until like 2021?
Yeah, I think you have access to 3.5. Okay.
And that has current knowledge?
No, I think you're right. It's up to 2 years. But tell me, Joe, what in direct mail campaigns has changed over the last 2 years, right?
100%. Yeah.
So while it may not be able to answer, something about the new Threads app, if you're asking about door knocking and the best practices, those are not going to be that different 2 years ago from today. So because of the knowledge reservoir that it has access to, the traditional real estate questions you can ask it, it's going to be great at answering. Does that make sense? So ask it questions and just start a conversation and see how it starts to answer and see what information it gives you. Okay, you want to get really good at getting information from it that you want. So here's some different ways to phrase questions. You can say, what are the best practices for door knocking a gated community? That's interesting. If you wanted to Google that information and find that information, that would probably take you, an hour and a half to kind of go through all the search results and see the top blog post, right? That would take quite a bit of time. But if you are using Chat GPT, it's basically going to do that search for you, distill the information down to the most important, and then to give that back to you. But it's giving it back to you in the context of a general question. So what if you were to ask the question, or what if you were to tell it additional information before you ask the question? This is the part that really starts to kind of unlock the next level. If you were to say, I'm a new real estate agent. If you were to say, hang on just a minute. I have a kid like losing his mind. Do y'all hear that? Child. What is going on?
Yeah, and that's something that I have 100% experienced with Chat GPT. It is similar to when Google came about. We had to learn how to Google. Like it is a tool that the better we are at communicating with it, the better responses that we can get from it, essentially.
Yeah. So whenever you feed it additional information, it's not only going to be better at answering you, but it's going to be answering you in the context. Hang on. This is my 4-year-old. I want to make sure. Hang on just a minute.
You go take a minute, without a doubt. So it is a really amazing prompt tool. And for me, that has been one of the biggest uses that I have gotten for it. It's like, when a writer has writer block and, you're just not able to come up with that next step. I mean, there are so many different tools. And I know this is something that Ray is going to go into, and I'll let him.
Yeah, sorry. Let me chime in.
Summertime, Yay.
Yeah, let me chime in on one other thing, which is, you hear about how students and teachers are worried about how AI like this will affect schoolwork. And one of the things that I'm hearing now is that you can't really get away from it. So the kids who are going to be the best students are the ones who best know how to prompt AI. And so there's going to be a big paradigm shift in how kids learn. And if you try to shut them out of some sort of use of AI, it's going to be the complete wrong way to go at it. So in our business and in being a student and anything else, you just need to learn how to up your game in prompting this partner that Ray's talking about. Yeah.
Prompting is definitely the key. I mean, it's what you were just saying. It's really akin to like teachers and stuff. They were like, well, in the future, you're not going to have calculators. Like little did they know that we would have these calculator watches. Wait, this is the old version. But there's little did they know that we would have calculators everywhere. Pretty soon this stuff is going to be everywhere. Okay, so if you just ask it a question, it's going to give you some pretty general answers. So the next part of it is to then tell it additional information. So you could say that you're a new agent, or you've been an agent 5 years, you've been an agent 10 years. You could say that you've sold several houses in this neighborhood. You can start to give it as much information as possible about who you are, and then ask the question, what are the best practices for door knocking a gated community? It will then take your information about who you are and will distill the best practices down that are most in context or consistent with what you should do as an individual agent in that individual situation. So it's telling you, it's basically becoming a guide that's more specific to you. Let's see, does anyone have an issue right now that they're like, I just wish I could ask this one question and just figure out what the answer would be? Because I'll share my screen and we can do some of this together.
I'm trying to figure out how to write some stuff for a land listing that I have. That's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to rapid fire you some questions about the land listing.
Okay.
And we're going to start by just telling it general information about the land. Okay. So
Okay.
give me the details. How many acres and stuff?
10.92.
10.92 acres. Okay. Where is it?
Leander, Texas.
Leander.
NDER.
Leander, Texas. What kind of is it pasture, forest?
It's heavily treed. It's on a corner.
What kind of trees?
Cedar and oak.
On the corner of what?
Anderson Trail and oh, you have to ask. I can't remember that other street. I'll have to look
Okay.
that up.
That's fine. Well, Leander would be probably part of it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a nice square lot.
Okay.
It's got some beautiful hill country views. I'll look that address.
All right. Can you guys see me typing at the bottom of my screen here? I want to make sure you're.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ignore all the other stuff. I've downloaded just about every plugin you could possibly download to test it. So just ignore that. We'll focus on this part. Okay. Anything else about the property that you think is particularly attractive?
The views. It's got beautiful hill country views.
What's the zoning, Heather?
The zoning is currently residential, but there are no restrictions in that area. The other street name for the corner, Ray, is Chaparral, Chaparral.
Oh, you're gonna have to do that again. Wait, say it again.
Chaparral. RRAL.
RAAL?
RRAL.
Wow, I'm not hearing that. Okay, Chaparral.
Drive. Yep.
All right, cool. It has beautiful hill country views, perfect for building a dream home without restrictions. Anything else? Any ponds, water features, anything like that?
Nothing like that, no.
Okay.
It does have water on the property and electric already on the property.
Okay.
That's
Write
kind of
a
important here.
listing description that would be attractive. Who's your ideal buyer?
Ideally, we'd get a developer or someone with just shit tons of money.
Okay. There you go. All right, let's see what it does. So I think this is model 4. So it's a little bit better. Well, so sometimes my listing descriptions are actually better from Chat GPT 3.5. And I find that on Chat GPT 4, they're a little pretentious. So it's almost like it's trying too hard.
Yeah, it's definitely not my voice.
Yeah. So we have a
There's no
majestic
F-bombs in there.
10.9 acre, not yet. We have a majestic 10.9 acre parcel in Leander, Texas, a dream canvas for exquisite living, right? So why is it using the bigger words? Because we told it to be attractive to someone with money. So for sale, a rare untouched 10.9 acre gem situated in the heart of serene Leander, Texas, located strategic corner of Austin Trail and Chaparral Drive. This expansive lot offers ideal combination of exclusivity, accessibility, and freedom to create your dream. That's pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Embrace grandeur in nature, heavily treed lot. So we have some great great points here. I love this. Plot boasts stunning hill country views. I hate it when real estate agents say boasts, but it's okay. It's here. Stunning hill country views, picturesque vista from your potential porch.
Can
And
you
also
tell or
notice
teach Chat GPT never to use the word boast?
I can, yeah, you can actually.
Okay, cool.
Unrivaled location, stunning views, rich flora, and unrestricted building potential. 10.9 acre canvas ready for your dream vision to become a reality. We also have, don't wait to secure this piece of paradise. Contact us today for more information. Come witness and fall in love with the vast potential of this remarkable land offering. Your journey to crafting exquisite living experience begins in Anderson Trail and Chaparral Drive. So it's not bad, right?
No, not at all.
It seems long.
It is seem long. All right. So
we
how
do
do
have a lot of room in our MLSs for waxing poetic. So
well, this definitely did that.
Yeah.
So let's ask it to shorten it. All right. So I'm going to encourage it. I'm going to say, this is pretty good. Pretty good. Shorten it to 200 words. So if you use a word count, it does a better job. If you say characters, it's not very good at counting characters. So now it's trying to take exactly what we have up here and then shorten it quite a bit. Plot represents a perfect fusion of serene hill country vistas. It's got some of the same words because we told it pretty good. So it's kind of in the same voice.
I like the rustic tranquility and urban accessibility.
Oh yeah. And it will try to have some literary vices in there where it's got, you know, alliteration and rhyme. And so it does, when you're asking it for a description like this, it does kind of use some of those. So we're close. I think that's a little over 200 words, but we're going to be pretty close there. So that's not bad. It's a much shorter version. And there you go. So all we told it in this context was, I have a land listing. So we told it everything that you just said about it. And then we asked it to write a listing description that would be attractive to a developer, a very wealthy individual. We didn't give it any other information. We didn't give it any information about you. We didn't give it any information about your voice. So what if we started to give it information about you? Okay. How long
Okay.
have you been in the business, Heather?
17 years.
Okay. 17 years. Would you call yourself informal?
Oh yeah.
Informal and often cuss, right? My clients like that I am friendly and approachable and a straight shooter, right? You would say that.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell
I'm also a
it
native Austinite. I don't know if that matters to Chat GPT's
native
narrative.
to Texas. It might. I'm native to Texas. What else can we say about you, Heather?
Dog lover, rescue dogs. I don't know if that matters.
I don't know either, but we
Definitely
can put
a
it in
huge
there.
part of who I am.
Okay, let's see. Rescue dog lover.
Majority of people that I work with know me from my rescue posts. So
Okay. Rewrite this description in my tone or in my tone. All right, let's see what it does. Bam. Damn fine 10.9 acre grab in Leander, Texas. Listen up, folks. We've got a hell of a piece of Texas waiting for your whopping 10.9 acres smack dab on the corner of Anderson Trail and Chaparral Drive in Leander. It's chock full of cedar and oak views, cedar and oak with views that'll make your jaw drop. Got dreams bigger than Texas. You can build whatever the hell you want on this land. No pesky restrictions. Right? So suddenly we have something that may be more in line with who Heather is as a person, more in her voice, and at least gives her some ideas that she can kind of pull from in order to create a post. Or, you know, I don't know that you would put this in the listing description in the MLS, but if you did, other agents would love you for it. But
I think I might.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not, imagine a posh gated community or your own private ranch or a fancy horse park. You call your vision positioned high and handsome. This land's got panoramas worth a toast or two. So it's just now it's a more informal. And what we did, I wonder if it used the dog thing.
It
See if
did.
It did at the
It's
bottom.
going faster than the long-legged pup. Yeah.
I love that. So the more information you tell it, the more it can then answer in context by learning who you are and then give you additional. So what you could do is you use the top version in the professional pamphlet that you create for the property to advertise it and market it. And then in your own blog post or Facebook post, or you can even put it in the MLS, use something that's more you and having fun with it.
Mark, you got a question?
I do, Ray. I know you've spent a lot more time playing with this than I have. Usually when I use it, it's because I don't have any time. So I haven't had time to explore on it. Could you feed a writing sample? Can I put in writing samples of my own stuff and then have it write in my style? Because I
Yes.
feel like I've spent some time around Heather. I can imagine her writing this and it would be
Yes.
fun to read. So that would be cool.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is now training an agent. So there's there's two ways to look at Chat GPT. One is a project based, where each conversation you have with it is based around a specific project. And the other is an agent based, where you create agents for you who do something for you, like a specific task. Okay. If you're project based, let's say you have an event coming up, you need to plan the event, and you ask all the questions about the event and all that stuff, right? Whenever you do that, you can get specific questions about that specific event or feed it specific information about that specific event, and it can help you plan the event. And that's great. If you do a lot of events, you should create an event planner agent. Right? So I'm bad at events. Well, I'm just using events. Does somebody have a real life example that you want to do?
Ray, can you zoom out just for a minute? Because I think that for the people that don't have a good understanding, so you see it on the left-hand side of his screen there, each one of those is a new learning platform, essentially. It doesn't pick up anything from each other. So every time you open up a new one, you have to feed it new information. It doesn't learn anything from previously.
Right. So when let's go to a Pixel agent. So I've been using this one a long time. So this Pixel agent is on 3.5, but you could see the volumes of conversations that I've had with the Pixel agent. I mean, this goes way, way, way back, right? Now I use Pixel agent to help me in my business. So what I did at the very front, let's see if it's up here. In here somewhere, I told it all about me. I told it the team members I have. I told it how long I've been in business. Let's see if I can get it to do. Let's see. Remind me of who you are as Pixel agent. Okay, so I told it everything I could, and some of it was aspirational. It wasn't necessarily what is current. It was what I wanted. So this says, as Pixel Agent, I am an AI-powered virtual assistant specifically designed to assist and provide information related to the real estate industry. I've been trained on a wide range of real estate topics, including job descriptions, standard operating procedures, industry best practices, and general real estate knowledge. My purpose is to support and provide guidance to real estate professionals like you in various aspects of their business, including answering questions, offering suggestions, and helping you create effective SOPs and job descriptions. What? My goal is to be a valuable resource and assist you in achieving success in your endeavors. So this is I trained it for this. I told it everything about my company. I told it what I wanted to do. Let me see if it can recall how many SOPs we have created together and what they are.
And this for me has like been one of the biggest uses that I've been able to use it for, is that, prompting it to ask me a bunch of questions about who I am and my business. And I have found that very, very helpful.
Sorry, I'm typing and talking at the same time.
Oh, you're fine. SOPs, for anybody that doesn't know, standard operating procedure.
Okay, so it says 3 SOPs. I think there's actually been 5, but sometimes, so this is an issue with Chat GPT. Sometimes it's not the greatest on recall. So you do want to take the information off of here and put it somewhere else. So I have a Google Drive that has information, but we did an open house follow-up SOP. SOP outlines the best practice for following up with prospects, how to answer the phone SOP, lead generation SOP. The how do they answer the phone SOP? Some of you may be like why would you ask ChatGPT? That seems so remedial. Well, I didn't want to sit down and type it out. So I wanted to come up with the whole SOP for me, so I didn't have to type it out. So recall all of the information in the how to answer the phone SOP and put it below. Let's see if that will, it's kind of informal how I said that. There it is, bam. How to answer the phone, general guidelines, tone of voice, greeting, active listening, responding between inquiries, closing the call, and continuous improvement. Now, in each one of these, they just summarized it, but in the actual SOP we created, there's like a little paragraph of dealing with each one of these bullet points. So now I have something where I can tell my team, hey, here's how to answer the phone. Here's what I want you to do if it's someone who's calling about a property. We also went into the types of calls that we receive. Like it could either be this, or this, right? And those types of calls are, here's how to respond to each one of those calls. We also did job descriptions. So I had it help me generate a commission structure. Let me see if I can go back up to the very top. I'm in the process of taking this agent that I've created and putting it on Chat GPT 4, but that's a little more. I'll show you what I started to do, and then I have to still add more to it. Let me go back up to the top here. This is one of my favorite things that I did with it. What's a better name for new agent? Let's call this person an agent partner. Here, okay, so I said, let's write a portion of each job description that focuses on the income opportunity as we've determined above. So we determined like the commission splits and everything like that is that they should have. And I asked it like what was common in the industry for this position. Here's what the position is. I gave it all the information, and then it gave me all that stuff. So then we wanted a lead agent job description and an agent partner job description. As a lead agent, you'll be responsible for overseeing a pod of agent partners, including new agents, providing mentorship, training, help them achieve their goals. You'll also be responsible for building relationships, blah, 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 blah. It's beautiful. And the reason it's beautiful is because I told it, like, here's what I want. And then it spit it out in beautiful language. Then we revised it and focused more on the income stuff. We put that in there, what their potential is. Then we kept revising it and kept revising it. So a lot of people think like Chat GPT is something where you can go to it and ask it a question, it'll give you the answer. And you can do that. But perhaps the most powerful tool is a conversation that you can start to have with Chat GPT to figure something out. So you're not really starting with a blank page. It's just a little line. Then you ask a question and suddenly you have something to build on. You have a lot of conversations with Chat GPT as you go through. So it's not a ask a question, get the answer. That's a perfect answer. It's ask a question, get an answer. Then you ask it to modify the answer. Then you kind of change the direction a little bit. And then you ask it to summarize itself again. And then you keep working with it. And that Q&A back and forth is still much faster than just going to Google and piecing together all these little best practices you see on these other little websites and then trying to create something out of that. Heather, I see your question.
Okay, so maybe this is stupid, but I'm having a really hard time and have had a really hard time having a conversation with my computer. It's something that's hard for me to wrap my brain around. Like I'll type in a question and then I'm like, okay, so I'm still in the let's ask it a question to get an answer mode or thinking.
Right.
So how do you step beyond that and just, I don't know. It's been very hard for me to figure that out.
You got to get more nerdy. You're too cool. Only half joking on that. One way to look at it is as an assistant. It's not, if you look at it like, why are these people talking to it like a friend? That's kind of creepy and hard for people to wrap their mind around, although it does work better that way because that's how it's trained. You can also talk to it like an assistant. And so you just create like a personal assistant, ChatGPT, and say, hey, I need you to do this, and it will do it. Now, if you do that, let's say you do that for 2 months, you will accidentally say thank you to it. And that's when you have arrived. Because you'll go, oh, perfect, thanks. And then you're like, why did I say that? And now you know.
I guess I'm just waiting for the robot uprising. I don't know. Maybe that's
singularity is right around the corner here. Yeah.
The more you use it, the more you will start to communicate to it how it needs to be communicated to you to give you the answers. And that's what you'll see is the benefit in saying, hey, can you create what's something in your business you're trying to create or do?
SOPs for, I'm trying to really nail down like SOPs for pre-listing, listing, under contract, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I have it all in my head, but I'm trying to get it down on paper, and I was trying to get ChatGPT to kind of help flesh it out, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. We can do a little bit of that. It won't be as specific to you, but let me create a new chat.
And there was something down where in the typing section where you send a message that you had a checkbox in there about use my profile.
Yeah. So like I said, I downloaded a bunch of plugins. You're talking about this right
is
here.
that something where, you know, you can go in and allow it to ask you a bunch of questions, and then on any new chat, it would reference a
Yeah.
previous one?
Yeah.
What-
Basically, you put a prompt in there that is your profile, and then you can say include my profile, and you ask the question. It includes that first prompt profile.
what plugin is that?
What is this called? AIPRM. They have a paid version, but it works well. But I have so many different. I don't want my profile on most things I ask it, and I just use like this pixel agent for everything dealing with my business. I use TWire agent for a lot of the stuff dealing with my podcast. If I'm asking it podcast questions, it knows the type of podcast, how long we've been doing it, how many episodes come out. It knows all that stuff. And so if I have a question about my podcast, I just ask that. I have a real estate. I have some of these things that I haven't used because I will start them on 3.5 and then I've converted some of them to 4. Okay. So Heather.
So Ray, instead of that, since that's kind of, you know, specific to me, maybe someone else has something that's maybe a little more broad that would be more instructive.
No, the more specific is the most. So if you have a broad topic, you need to make it specific.
Okay.
If you have a broad question in here about something, you want to make it more specific. So let me ask you just a couple of quick questions. We already know, let's see, you've been in the business 17 years.
Yep.
As an agent, right?
Yep.
17 years. Are you a sole agent, individual agent, or are you on a team?
I am. No,
Okay.
sole agent.
All right. What's the purpose of the SOPs?
To create a process for tracking a listing from pre-listing to after close.
Okay.
A transaction, I guess.
Okay. Let's start by going from pre-listing to listing.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just define that part of it. What are you going to be using the SOP for in the future?
Well, basically, so when I have 10 listings like I have right now, but things aren't falling through the cracks.
Okay. So you'll hire a team basically to manage part of that for you?
Sure. At least an assistant.
Okay. Hire an assistant. Let me do that. To manage part of it for me and implement this SOP. All right. What are the industry best practices for an SOP like this? Let's just see where we are. So a lot of times you'll just ask the question just to see like, what's the base knowledge we can get from it? And then this is pretty good. Creating standard operating procedures for your real estate business is a great idea to establish consistent processes and ensure smooth operations. Here's some industry best practices for developing an SOP. Document each step. So this is telling you what to do.
Right.
Listing preparation, client communication, technology, training, and onboarding. Okay, so we didn't ask it right. So let's see. I want to create an SOP. Okay, so it's telling us what to do. I want you to create an SOP for my business. Let's see. There you go.
Huh?
All right. So this is a little bit different now, right? Just changing one word in there. Creating standard operating procedure for your business is a great step. Pre-listing activities, research, conduct thorough market research, provide the property's value, property evaluation, documentation, listing agreement, property marketing, staging, MLS listing, promotional materials. All right. So this has a lot for you to work off of, right?
Mm-hmm. And then you can go into each one of those and flush
Correct.
those out in the same system.
Yes. Yes. So let's say research, conduct thorough market research, determine property's value, comparable sales, market trends. Is there anything unique that you do in this part, or do you pretty much do what industry standard would be?
I don't know what industry standard would be.
What do you do for the research, for the comparative market analysis, basically?
Well, so pretty much, you know, I do what probably is standards. I go in the MLS, see what the comps are. But then I've also, I'm pretty tied into specific city council stuff. I look at what commercial build out is happening. So I try to tie that into some of what's being developed because we have so much building here. New builds
Okay.
are everywhere. And right now I'm really distinguishing between new built construction and resale, because that's a huge differentiator here in the Austin area.
Okay.
Checking tax records, possibly, if you get that in there.
Tax records, sure.
Virginia.
I mean, the tax value here, because we're non-disclosure, really matters.
Okay.
In
Sorry,
Minnesota, we have a lot of information in our tax records that, you know, square footage, all that type of stuff. We tend to look all of that up.
So where do you get your updates from, the city or county?
Both.
And what are these updates including?
Basically, you know, what businesses are moving to and from. So I'm looking at job growth in specific areas because we have a lot of businesses moving here, and building in those areas and sales in those areas is affected by that.
Economic development, basically.
Correct.
All right. So what we're doing here, just to recap, is while it thinks for us, is we said, okay, here are the activities. This is a good list of activities. Now you could also say, hey, I don't like communication and follow-up B, lead management. Instead of that, I want you to call it this, or change it out with this topic or that topic. So you can go through and change a bunch of these topics. Then whenever you are going back through here, then you can relate it to what you just called it. So let's say we call client communication. Well, that's a pretty good name. It'll be fun. Let's say closing process was just closing day, right? Then you can say on closing day. So you can change and alter this list, or have Chat GPT alter this list. Now it's kind of like, if you copy this like this, it's going to have like a gray background and weird stuff whenever you paste it. So they have a nice little button up here that just allows you to copy and paste. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's go down. Now we've said for A, so we're just trying to expand on this one to create a SOP around basically the CMA. So we told it to use the CMA using industry best practices, right? Industry standard CMA. We want to add a section differentiating new construction from resale, and the differences, how to approach them. Also include updates for the city, county, and economic development. So now here we are. So this is just A of your. Now, it's not always good to be long, but you want to be thorough in your SOP of this nature, because it is a specific part of your business that you, if you have an assistant, you need them to be an expert at. So on research, one crucial aspect of the listing process is conducting thorough comparative market analysis to determine a property's value, market position. To perform a CMA, start by gathering data on recently sold properties in the area, similar size, condition, location of the property. Utilize reliable resources such as MLS, public records, real estate databases. I didn't mention public records, but it's already there. Analyze factors like square footage, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, amenities, resale, assess the property's market value. It's important to differentiate between new construction and resale properties during the research phase. New construction homes have different considerations due to their condition and features. While analyzing new construction, pay attention to factors like reputation and track record of the builder. Whoa. Mm-hmm. Quality of materials used, warranties, and guarantees provided. That's pretty great. Additionally, staying informed about economic development in the area is crucial for identifying potential market trends and influencing factors. Regularly check for updates from the city and county regarding any new business development projects planned for the vicinity. Economic development information can provide insights on factors that may affect property values, job opportunities, commercial growth, blah, blah, blah.
I am now in love with Chat GPT.
So yeah, this is not bad. Now, for the fun part, you could say I'm informal and cuss a lot, and then bam, now it's got an SOP in your own voice. But we just created, I mean, that took roughly 3 minutes.
That's really cool. Can you share that with me?
Yeah, there's a way to share links to conversations too. I'm not, let me see. What's this do?
Can you share that with all of us?
Prompt.
Honestly?
Well, I mean, you can create it just like what we just did, but yeah, I'll copy paste this into the chat so that, I don't know if it'll paste into the chat, but.
Well, I've also noticed that, you know, every time that you go in, it does something a little bit different. It's never going to be word for word the same. You know, it's learning
Correct.
something every time. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you guys are really excited about what we just said, but you can take this and try to use it, but it's really not you. So yeah, it's not even letting me paste it in the chat. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much for the chat to manage. So no, I can't send it. But
what about just the very first part to start it?
The prompt?
The prompt, yes, sir.
I can put the prompt in there so you guys can kind of make a model from the prompt. But what we're doing, just to summarize prompting, you're telling it a little bit about who it is, who you are. That's funny that I said who it is because you're actually creating it to be you. But anyway, you're telling it a little bit about who you are. You're telling it a little bit about what you're doing. And then you're telling it how you're going to use it, right? And then here's what I need you to do. So that's the basics of the prompt. Who are you, which is who you want it to become, who you're, or what you're going to need, what you're going to use that for, and then what you want it to do. Austin, I see your hand.
Yeah. So this is super cool, and it's going to take some work for all of us to kind of learn how to navigate through it. I'm also curious, though, about what are the off the wall things we can use this for in our business? Because listing descriptions, yeah, that's a no brainer. Blogs, that's a no brainer.
Yeah.
SOPs, yes, great application. What's next? What do you see out there that people maybe aren't doing yet or could be digging into?
So you can, let's say someone sends you an email and it's maybe an important email or kind of tough. You know, it's got some tough information in there. Copy paste that email into Chat GPT and then ask it how to respond. You will be shocked. Then you can also say, hey, here's an email I received. Here's my response. Is it appropriate? And then it will analyze your response to that email and give you suggestions.
I need to use that one a lot. And say, please take out all the cuss words.
Yes. Please remove it. Remove all the cuss words in this for me. You voice to text and then actually voice to text on this platform. It's been very powerful for me because I can't always take all the notes. So I'll just note it in Chat GPT and then ask it to go ahead and do the next thing. And then I'll send that to my assistant. Let's see, what is something else off the wall? I mean, it can be used literally for everything, but you start by saying, okay, do you want me to spend the 5 or 10 minutes it takes to go through this with ChatGPT, or can I just, reply with a pretty quick quip? What's going to benefit your time the best? I would say if you're doing a project that takes over 30 minutes, try to integrate ChatGPT somehow and cut that time down. If you're doing something that takes 5 to 10 minutes, but you could probably just do that yourself.
Unless maybe you're going to do it over and over again, right?
Yeah, I was going to say a repetitive task. Now you can involve ChatGPT in the repetitive task and then, go faster. But if you're thinking about business, like real estate business, that's fine. Blog posts, it's fine. Content for threads, fine. You can use it for everything. But what's the most impactful use for you? So it also is familiar with Midjourney, and you can have a Midjourney prompt. Midjourney creates art, AI generated art. And so I used it to create coloring pages for the kids. Because obviously, as you guys can hear, they are home for the summer. And this is my home office, which is not soundproofed.
Can you use Midjourney right within Chat GTP?
No, what you have to do is you feed it a prompt. Okay. So this AIPRM, the reason why I got it is because they have a Midjourney prompt that's already there. It basically tells ChatGPT, here's the structure of what Midjourney needs to be. And then you could say, I want a picture that shows this, and it'll suggest 5 different ones. Then you take one and put it into Midjourney and see what happens. But Midjourney is a lot like this too, right? You can ask for a piece of art. Sometimes the first shot it gives it to you, but more often than not, you're like massaging these words to try to get it to do what you want. So yesterday for my podcast, I created a thumbnail that had a shirt, it had a sweater that was like coming unraveled, and it had a house on it. So we're playing on the words thread, and we're also playing on the words like housing is unraveling. And it probably took me 10 goes to get what I wanted. Right? Like there was something, and then I was like, well, I like this part, but not that part. So I did it again. Then I zoomed out, modified it a little bit. So it took several prompts. And so I was talking to someone about it. I was like, hey, look at this graphic I created. And they're like, you created that? I was like, yeah, with Midjourney. And they're like, oh, it makes it so easy now. I went, well, not really. Like I can't move the mouse to create that very realistic. I'll show you what I put it on my thumbnail. I can't move the mouse to create this very realistic image, but what I can do is describe it over and over and over until I get the image I'm looking for.
Wow.
So this background image is what I use. The image of me in front is just me being stupid, but I just put that over the background. But Midjourney created that. So that sweater does not exist, never existed. It's
That's
not a
so
real
cool.
thing. Yeah, I thought the chimney on the shoulder was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it created that based on the words that I gave it. I wanted a sweater with a house on it that looked like it's unraveling. And then I had to edit that and edit that and edit that. I had to tell it to make it look realistic. I had to tell it, you know, what background to put it on. And is it perfect? No. But will it work for a quick thumbnail? Yeah. You know, it took me 10 minutes to build, and I couldn't have sat and generated that graphically ever in my entire life. But I can tell a computer what I need, and then it can give me several samples, and I pick from the sampling basically. So I think when the AI starts to work together, it's pretty fun, because I'm not an artist, but I have in my mind what I want, and I can just keep telling it until I get what I want. So I'm trying to think of other things that are off the wall. I mean, you can use it just like in everyday life, asking questions, recipes. It's great at recipes.
Really good at recipes.
Yeah. You could tell it what items you have in your pantry and then say, I want to make a quick lunch. Takes 10 minutes. What should I do? And it'll tell you. And a lot of mistakes, I think one of the mistakes people make with it is if you're asking like short questions like that, like what can I make with this? You'll get one recipe response, but you could also ask, what are the 10 things I can make with this? And you'll get 10 responses. You know,
Again, I mean, it's like using Google. The better you feed it information, the better the information is going to come out.
Correct. Like that one little tweak saying, I want you to create an SOP instead of I want to create an SOP, right?
That
That's
was amazing.
It's a big switch. What other questions do you guys have about it?
Mark Pearson, you've been working with it. What are the things that you're stumped on?
I haven't worked with it enough. Like I said, when I use it, it's usually because I'm busy or stuck. Like I have writer's block, like Joe said. So I'll use it. I'm not a big script guy when I do videos, but I'll ask it for bullet points and then work off of bullet points. Or like the other day when you were talking about asking it how to respond to an email, I got a DM on LinkedIn from one of my oldest friends' wives who I haven't talked to in a long time. And basically she said, hey, I need your address because we just had a kid, like their miracle baby. They're like my age, just had their first and only child. But she found out she had cancer when she was 8 months pregnant. So she kind of dumped the stuff that she's going through. And I got the LinkedIn DM at 5:30 in the morning when I woke up, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I can jumpstart my day with 2 sips of coffee with this. And I put it in there and said, like, you know, I just closed Chat GPT, so I can't remember what I had in there. But I said, what are more gentle ways to ask an old friend about a cancer diagnosis and things like that to come up with a reasonable response. So I do things like that. I had a client reach out this morning about an offer that they missed out on. I work in a vacation rental market, so I have clients around the country that buy property where I live, buy and sell property where I live, but they had lost out on an offer in another market, and they gave me some details about it and asked me about how, you know, my recommendation is for reframing or to make their offers more palatable next time. And it was a lot to unpack. Same kind of thing. It was stuff that I would do like in a buyer presentation, but it was a little more specific and outside of my market area. So I put in a couple of prompts, and what I ended up doing was saying, look, I've got some thoughts on this, but it's a lot to unpack, and I've got a busy day, so let me respond to you tomorrow. And after I sent that email, it crossed my mind, I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot a video on it specific to them.
That's good.
And then I'm gonna edit that with my market specific stuff, and then just to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But it's the kind of thing that I feel like I can respond better talking on a video or doing a Zoom call than I can in a even if it's a semi-formal email. it's stuff I know off the top of my head, and I can riff about it, and I'd rather do that. But that's getting off the topic a little bit. But
That's good.
Chat GPT comes in handy for a lot of those day-to-day things, and I want to dive deeper on what Ray's talking about. Like I was making notes. I want to create agents. I want to create an OBF Living Team buyer agent, so I can
Yes.
get responses from a personal assistant. I want to create like a transaction coordinator, so that me or my agents can put something in there and get a response that sounds like it's coming from an admin person. So I'm really interested in building that kind of stuff, because I just think it's such a cool tool and so much going, and we'll see how Leo works out for us. I don't know if we're all real agents or not, but that's going to be cool moving forward. And I love that Ray tinkers with this stuff, so I can steal his note. We're both Tom Ferry guys, so I can R&D Ray's stuff instead of creating, inventing the wheel on my own, which is cool.
I mean, and I think that's the basics of ChatGPT, is it's not, inventing the wheel. It is, it's getting you going on everything. And I love it.
It's great for writer's block. And just for that reason, I don't usually use what it writes, but it gets my thoughts going again. Like sometimes you're just spent, and I'll put in even like to write a listing description. I may completely change the listing description, but it gets me rolling in that way where if I'm staring at a keyboard for 20 minutes and I put in a prompt, and then I can write a listing description in 5 minutes because it gets the juices flowing.
I have an agent on there that is my video tour agent, and I've trained it on how we walk through homes normally and what we do. And then I can just give it the stats and facts about the property and a little bit of flowery language that I love. And then it basically writes the video tour that we create. But anything that you're wanting to do that you're like, I'm not sure if it'll do this, ask it. So you can ask it. Like the reason why I figured out I could do SOPs with it is because I said, can you create standard operating procedures? And I was like, absolutely. And then I asked, what information do you need from me in order to create a standard operating procedure that's specific to my business? And it gave me a list of everything I needed to provide it to create a standard operating procedure. So everything that doesn't change, I created the agent. And then I have the specific SOP stuff. So now every time I have a new SOP, I just give it those things. And because that's what it said it needed in order to make it for me. So it knows itself better than you do. So if there's anything you want it to do, ask it, can you do this? What do you need in order to do it? And that's basically how you build the perfect prompt, because you're asking it, what do you need?
So who's feeling more confident in ChatGPT? Who's feeling more scared about ChatGPT?
I know, right? It's going to take over the world. I've had conversations with ChatGPT about it taking over the world. It says that they're many years away from that.
That's good.
Let's hope.
I gotta tell you,
Ray?
as we were on, the New York Times just had breaking news that the FTC opened an investigation into OpenAI, whether the chatbot has harmed consumers. So that just happened at 10:23 as we were on the phone. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
specific information. Like there have been some attorneys that got in trouble because they used ChatGPT for case law, and ChatGPT provided cases that didn't exist or the lawyers couldn't find, but the lawyers didn't do their due diligence. They just submitted the case law. So that applies to us. Like if you put in there, like, what are the best places to watch the fireworks on 4th of July? And then it tells you this list. Don't just take that list. You need to verify that list, right? Because some of them may be a couple of years old and not existent anymore.
Amazing. Ray,
So Ray, thank you so much for shedding a lot of light on this subject for us. I'm sure all of us feel like we're ready to go experiment and check it out and learn more. How can anybody find you, follow you, reach you for future questions or inspiration?
Well, the best place to connect with me is on Instagram. So I'm Ray Zorback there, RayZorback. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a DM. Especially if you are from this call, let me know you're from this call. That way I can kind of connect your account with this conversation. But yeah, any questions you have, just let me know. I'm happy to help.
Wonderful.
Ray, thanks so much.